it is very helpful to contrast and compare. Later today, I'm going to dig a hole in the beach. And that's what the beach sequence will look like. That's our control. It would be very helpful in your paper if you had the two side by side. Because then you're comparing what you were expecting with what you received, and you could even draw a line between the entire beach sequence and the part of the beach sequence that still exists in this particular sequence. You see, those kinds of things make the difference between an average paper and a superior paper. When you compare and contrast, it works out much better. When you just put it in there, well, I was supposed to put it in there, so here it is, that doesn't do it. Now, in a similar sense, the next picture I want you to take, we will go out on the median. That's between the two roads. And remember, this is not Valdosta State University. These people are traveling at high rates of speed. They're not going to stop. So look both ways before you cross. You don't want any roadkill.
I have life insurance.
That's what Honey Boo Boo likes more than anything else. You don't want any of that. And you take a picture down the median to show the drop-off. Then later today, we will be at the beach. You can take a picture out into the water. And so, again, you can compare the two, what this must have looked like, what the modern beach looks like. Those kinds of comparisons are very useful in understanding. Now, as I said, the sign is not helpful because it has some errors to it, and also it's hard to read because of all the rust. I would save your picture for those that are designated. So, do you have any questions then about the purpose of this stop? About what you should be talking about? And, of course, soils are very important. Why is that? All right. Plants, whether you're a vegetation or whether you eat animals that eat plants, are essential. Now, where would you suspect that the plants would get their nutrients from in this sequence? Where are they going to get their nutrients from? If it were, yes, the accumulation. If it were the nutrient, the organic level, then the roots would all be fanning out. They would not go deep. So the accumulation. Now, the reason why these are not layers is because these zones move downward. Bless you, bless you. Gotta let it out, Pickle. Gotta let it out. It'll tear you up inside if you don't. These zones will move through time. If you get into more humid climates, Dr. Liu will tell you. By the way, this is Dr. Gia Liu. She's an assistant professor in the Department of Physics, Astronomy, Geosciences, and her specialty is urban planning. And she currently isn't here. She's in China doing a very large grant, but she took time off her grant to come and be with us. So, we're glad to acknowledge her being here when she could have been studying or working on her grant, so it's nice to have her along. So, in areas that are very humid, these zones would be much farther down. Dr. Grozos, how many of you know who Dr. Grozos is? All right. Well, he worked in Brazil for a large part of his career, and he said there that the zone of leaching is 100 feet deep. 100 feet deep. So, if you were a plant there, what would you do? Well, luckily in those areas, there is a tremendous amount of accumulation of organic matter and nutrients. The most diverse ecosystems on the earth are the rainforest and the jungle areas. So as long as they're operating, they're very rich. Once they are burned and cut down, the nutrients are removed and very difficult.